So let's, actually I have two questions, not only one. How to find your Scrum Master, and is your Scrum Master the next Agile Coach? Just a short introduction of myself. You can see 15 years of traditional project management and 5 years of agility. Actually, in the 15 years, I was always successful as a project manager because in the field culture, you cannot have fails. Even minor fails you cannot have. So every project is successful, or you can sell it that it was a success in a way that you are presenting. When I first met with Agile, actually I was delivering a key feature for our key customer. And you know, delivering a completely new feature to a key customer is probably the worst idea that you can have. Is it okay now? Thanks. And we made that mistake. And in the middle of the development, they told me, okay, but you have to do it in an agile way. What is agile? How can I do it in an agile way? I cannot even predict what kind of failures can be because I don't know anything about agile. So the first time was a big hatred for me for the new methodology, or I think that it's a methodology. And then in the middle of the project, when I already start to blame everything about agile, we had to realize that we cannot use the EC of the car for our feature because we don't know anything about the behavior of the end user. So we had to change the whole concept, the architecture of the whole concept to cloud computing and sync client. And to be honest, without agility and without a highly dedicated and motivated team, it would be totally impossible to deliver. And now this feature is on the road, some of the cars that produced by our key customers. So, and that was the point when the hatred turned to love with agility. So we are sprint consulting. We have very nice badges. We have very nice track record as well. As an agile consultancy, we are doing transformation. To be honest, we are fixing some not really successful transformations as well that we find, and helping to improve our client. So can this happen in the traditional world? We are not mentioning it our homepage, but yes, I'm doing traditional project coaching as well. And of course, behind the curtains, I plant the seeds of agility to my team to make sure that they are motivated, they know why they are working and what they are working on. So let's go back to the basics. We want to do agile. Even we don't know what it means, but it's very, oh. For somehow, oh, okay, so. Cool, but I already killed the point. So we want to do agile, but we don't know who we need. So, let's try. Okay. So we don't know who we need. We need maybe a teacher or a mentor, or we need a young knight who will tear up the galaxy to make sure that we can achieve our goals. Or maybe our company is so deep in politics that we need a politician. But with a politician, we have to be very careful because, yeah, we can have an open-minded, open-hearted politician, but I don't know if you recognize this guy. Actually, he is the Dark Lord of Sith and the head of the Galactic Empire. He was the one who was able to ruin the Galactic Republic and build up the Galactic Empire itself. So if you hire this guy, probably he will ruin your company, but build up his own power. So listen to Gábor, it's a trap. But how we can avoid this trap? So it's very simple. Ask the council. There are companies who know a lot about Agile, who has the domain knowledge. He's seen more Agile adaptation than anybody else, and seen painful pitfalls as well. So they can help you. You remember the last presentation that we had? There was one guy from the council and 2 others from the company. But of course, if you want to reach for the council, the easiest way is just type into Google Sprint Consulting and you will find one as well. So believe me, using external coaches can be very good for your organization, because the external coach has the ability to speak both levels of the company, from the C-level to the expert level, can talk very open to them, bring in the ideas, coach them what agile transformation means. So this is why it can be very good. But if we are okay to use the council, even we have to choose our guys. So if we want to have a senior developer, I have 2 developers here. One of them is 22 months of experience, 4 very fancy badges. The other one has nearly 20 years of experience, BA computer science. So just raise your hands, who wants to have the Dev 1 for the company as senior developer? Who wants to have the Dev 2? It's cool. I want to Dev 2 as well, but I recommend to you to have the same for the Scrum Master. Believe me that experience in Scrum Mastering can be a very nice thing when you hire a Scrum Master. Of course, the next question is, can I buy something that is already done, like an Imperial Star Destroyer, or do I want to build my own Death Star to make sure that even if it is 70% done, with only one laser beam can destroy the whole Imperial Star Destroyer? So I think to build is much nicer than to buy a whole. And to be honest, one sentence I really want to tell here, lifelong learning. So even if you buy a Scrum Master that has nice enough experience to immediately start to work in your company, there is a journey for him to improve, and there is always a journey for us to improve. So never forget that even if we think that we are already a whole, we still have a lot to learn. And of course, there is a nice way to frustrate your Scrum Master when arrive to the company, already start to improve his or her skills, that we put the new Scrum Master into the traditional command and control organization. This is a nice way how we can kill the Scrum Master. Even better, if we give him the responsibility for the salary increases, or even better, if we give him to hire and fire responsibility. This is the nicest way to kill our Scrum Master, because we hired somebody who will build up servant leadership for our company, and we put him into the traditional organization. This is the best way to eliminate all of their abilities to work as a Scrum Master for us. So what is the solution for our Scrum Master to be not frustrated and able to build up our company? Put the Scrum Master out of the traditional organization. Maybe your whole Scrum team put out from the whole organization. You can call it as an incubator, you can call it anything, but don't try to put it in the fear culture, because in this case, your Scrum Master will be not able to be as a Scrum Master. And if I talk about the Scrum Master is not able to be as a Scrum Master, let's talk about Scrum Master misconceptions. The first, and one of my favorites, are the Scrum police. When you start to adopt Scrum, you have to enforce your team that they are doing the Scrum events. And because of this, everybody will think about you as you are the Scrum police, and you are the one who says that everything is written in the Scrum guide is good, and you have to do it. In this phase, you have to understand that maybe your team Scrum adaptation is very different from your Scrum adaptation. But if you are able to give purpose for the Scrum events, they will ask for it. I'm working with a team, a traditional team currently. I do traditional team coaching there, but we are doing retrospectives. And at the first retrospective, I ask everybody to give a fist or 5 to me that how they are value the whole retrospective. There was fists as well. They told me that it's very nice to ask our opinions, but nothing will change. No, after a year of work together, we had a retrospective, and for the next retrospective, all of our action items are done. It's a very nice change from the whole organization itself, and the guys see the results of the retrospectives and ask me that when we will have the next retro. So they are asking for it, and this is a very nice thing. So this is how you can overcome the Scrum police misconception. The next one, our Scrum Master is a hero. These 3 guys with the tiny planes went to a Death Star to destroy it for the freedom of the galaxy. A couple of them not returned. Don't assign tasks to your Scrum Master when she will not able to return. And on the other thing, the burnout is a huge danger for your Scrum Master. If I list how much things a Scrum Master has to do weekly, I find 80 hours of job. Nobody is able to do 80 hours. Or maybe we are doing it, if we are able to doing it for a couple of weeks, and after it, we start to decline. So respect that your Scrum Master is a human being, and respect that he is able to prioritize the tasks, and he can work only 40 or 50 hours a week. The next misconception is the Scrum Master is a scribe. Of course, we really like to talk to each other because the personal talk has the biggest bandwidth in communication. But somebody has to write down the things that we are doing, like the retrospective. We don't have to write everything that happens in the retrospective, but if we don't agree and write down the action items, that retrospective is lost for us. So somebody has to take notes, but not about everything. The worst thing I see that some guys ask the Scrum Masters in a very traditional organization that they should take notes about the daily stand-up and circulate it. This is how you kill your Scrum Master. You immediately put a lot of work on him, and he will not be able to concentrate on the Scrum Master work. The next misconception is the Scrum Master is a secretary, because he's planning all of the Scrum events. So he should be up to date about who is on holiday, who is off, who has another meeting and has to join, so we have to shift our daily stand-up. You should never shift your daily stand-up, so others should respect this. And yeah, the Scrum Master is organizing this meeting, but she is not the team secretary at all. The next one is the Scrum Master of the T-boy or the coffee clerk. When I started my journey as an Agile coach, I facilitated a story mapping workshop for 3 days. Actually, it was a quite big feature, but we finished it very nicely. But at the second day, at the morning, one of the key guys who was really important for me to speak, he just started to speak, became silent, and thought, I need a coffee. Very silent, we whispering it. So I told him, just continue, take notes on the wall, and I bring in a cup of coffee. So it's okay to bring a cup of coffee for your guys, but if this is the only thing that they remember you, you are doing it wrong for sure. I hope this team remembers me as the guy who facilitated the first story mapping workshop at this company, and not as the guy who brought in coffee for our developer colleague. So it's okay to bring in coffee, but you should be remembered for the other things that you are doing. The next misconception is the chairman. You can see it very nicely. If the Scrum Master starts to be a proxy PO, or even a super PO, that's even worse. Scrum Master has to understand, and I'm coming from the product side, I have 20 years product experience, and this is the hardest part for me, to let the team decide. And I only facilitate them. If I think they are going in the wrong direction, I can have nice questions, but that's all. They have to make the decision, and even if decision leads to a fail, they have to learn about their fail. So I cannot give them the perfect answer, and probably I don't know the perfect answer, and this is a learning for me as well. So don't let your Scrum Master become a chairman and become a PO. The next one is the admin. This is very, very usual for the Scrum Masters who just start Scrum Mastering, that they find that in Jira they can do very nice things, so they become Jira admins instead of Scrum Masters. Every company has Jira admins, so if you need a small thing in Jira, you can ask your Scrum Master for your help. It's not an issue at all, but the Scrum Master shouldn't be the Jira admin of the team. And the last one, and this is my favorite, that the Scrum Master becomes the team boss. Oh, you cannot see that Vader is choking the other guy, just to make sure that his voice is stronger. So it happens when the it happens usually when the Scrum Master was the formal leader of the team before he became or she became a Scrum Master, and usually start to micromanage or continue to micromanage the team. And this is the best way hard to kill self-organization, to micromanage the team. So in this case, you have to feedback the Scrum Master that he is doing something wrong because he became the team boss. So, okay, we've seen misconceptions, but what is the Scrum Master is doing? So why we need a Scrum Master here? So first one, our Scrum Master is the impediment remover. Actually, if you see in the movies, he is how Obi-Wan turned off the tractor beam for the Falcon to escape from the Death Star. That was a big impediment, and he removed it, so it's very nice. But on the other hand, remember that I told that you shouldn't give tasks to your Scrum Master that he cannot survive. Obi-Wan survived as a Jedi Ghost, so it's a partial success. The next one, this is something that I not wanted to show yet. Yeah. Too much, yeah, definitely. I hope you are, you know the Star Wars universe, because otherwise the pictures are a little bit useless. So the next one is the facilitator. And to be honest, there's a big trouble, and I find this picture that I'm not like as a facilitator, but I cannot find it more. So what is facilitating? Actually, there is a debate that it's coming from Spanish or French, but I think it doesn't important at all, because both of the words are coming from Latin, the facile, and make it easy, make it easier. And this is one of the best things that a Scrum Master can do to make it easier for the team to work together and achieve the results. Next one is a coach. We will talk about coaching a little bit, but to be honest, the Scrum Masters are usually not really skilled in individual coaching, but they have to be skilled in team coaching to make sure that the team can adopt the Scrum values. The next one is the teacher. The teacher ensures the Scrum and other relevant methods are understood and enacted. The next one is a servant leader, and as I mentioned before, servant leadership is nearly impossible in a traditional organization. To help your Scrum Master to go out from the traditional organization and make sure that he is able to help the team to achieving nice results and providing and helping the team to providing value to the customer. The next one is a manager, and the manager is a strange word here, I think, because it's coming from the old word, but if we talk about what the Scrum Master has to manage, the impediments, the elimination of the waste, the managing the process, and managing the team has, we can understand that this is totally not a traditional manager that we are talking about. And the next one is the change agent. I think in the Star Wars movie, the biggest change was when Lord Vader raised the Emperor and dropped down in the Death Star to kill him. So it was an immediate, huge change in the organization. It is better if your Scrum Master don't kill the C-levels. But yeah, he has to be able to make changes, at least at team level. And the last one is the mentor that transfers agile knowledge and experience to the team. So actually, I think we see very nicely what is a Scrum Master, but I promised another thing for you, that what is the difference? Is he the next Agile Coach? This is our question. And if we ask the Scrum Guide about what is the difference between a Scrum Master and an Agile Coach, the Scrum Guide is not enough for us because there is no Agile Coaches at the Scrum Guide. So I usually tell every question that let's check the Scrum Guide first, but in this case, Scrum Guide will not help us. So these are my thoughts, and if you disagree, we can talk about it. But I think the biggest difference is that the Scrum Master is usually acts at the team level, and the Agile Coach usually has organization level goals, but can act in different levels as well. So an Agile Coach can act as a team level as well, but he has at least organization level goals. And the transformation should be facilitated by an Agile Coach if we are talking about a large organization. If we are talking about a startup with 2 Scrum teams, 1 Scrum Master should be enough, but probably the startup doesn't need an Agile transformation at all because it's already working in an Agile way, in my experience. So what are the misconceptions of Agile coaching? That Agile coaching is the same as coaching. It can be very different. I had an Agile Coach friend. I have an Agile Coach friend. He was formerly a colleague, but still a friend of mine. That before he became an Agile Coach, he was a technology team leader. He is one of the best Agile coaches I know to build up continuous integration, continuous testing pipelines, but he has zero experience as coaching. So yeah, there can be special coaches on the organization, and to be honest, personal coaching and executive coaching are totally different from Agile coaching, because as an Agile coach, I want to teach Agile and not how to develop your career or anything like this. We have a colleague expert consulting. She has both knowledges, but it's a very special case, and not because she's an Agile coach as well, but because she learned the personal and the executive coaching as well. So yeah, there are people who can do both of them, but it's not usual at all. The second one, Agile coaches know everything about Agile. It can be even worse that Agile coaches know everything about everything. I've seen this expectation about myself, and it's not nice to be in this situation, because for sure you don't know everything about Agile. You have strengths and weaknesses as everybody else. So people has to accept it, that Agile coaches don't know everything. This is the lifelong learning. This is why we believe in the lifelong learning. Today, from Zoli, I learn new things, and thank you for it. So yeah, this is how we work. We are learning every day new things. And Agile coaches as senior Scrum Masters, as I mentioned before, the colleague who was tech team leader, architect, and then became an Agile coach, of course, he was never been a Scrum Master, and it's not a problem at all. Usually, Scrum Masters want to be Agile coaches one day, but it's not a straightforward thing, so we will talk about it, because this is the end of this will be the end of the presentation. We only need an Agile coach for our problem teams. Let's not open what is a problem team, because I think 1 hour is not enough for that. But just to have a metaphor to move a different direction. If somebody wants the Olympic gold medal, he or she is the best of that sport because she won the Olympic. But she still needs a coach to improve. So not only the problem teams need coaches, but every team who wants to improve needs some kind of coaching to make sure that they are able to improve, or they are so deep in the self-work that they can do it by themselves. But if a coach helps them, for sure it will be better. Agile coaches are not needed for successful transformation, and another metaphor, sorry for it. If you jump out from a plane that is flying and survive it, it doesn't mean that to jump out from a plane and survive it, you don't need a parachute. This is really the same for Agile coaches. But of course, again, if the organization is small, then maybe an experienced Scrum Master can do the same. But if the organization is large, it's much better to use an Agile coach and even to use an external coach as well. All Agile coaches know how to coach people. As I mentioned, coaching people, it can be a very different discipline from Agile coaching. So don't expect that. So what Agile coaches are doing, and of course it's not my slide, so huge thanks for Lisa Atkins that we can use this slide. This is the Agile Coach competency framework from Lisa Atkins. And as you can see, there is teaching, there is mentoring, there is facilitating there that we already talked about, that the Scrum Master is doing the same. So there are areas when the same skill set help. But otherwise, technical mastery, business mastery, transformation mastery can be a very different thing. So it's not a straightforward thing that a senior Scrum Master will be an Agile coach. And there is a very nice blog. It's coming from Europe's first Scrum Master, from 50% Agile coach to 100% Scrum Master. Actually, he is one of the biggest experienced Scrum Masters in Europe. I think he's from Dutch. And he became an Agile coach and had to realize that he's not liking it at all, because he likes to work with his team continuously and make the improvements together with the team and be happy with the improvements. So maybe insights are not perfect for being an Agile coach, and this is totally okay. If you are a brilliant Scrum Master, you don't have to be an Agile coach. Of course, the conclusion. Of course, you can be an Agile coach, but you have to invest into learning a lot, and your company has to invest in learning a lot. And after you are a successful Agile coach, it's not 100% that you will like it more than be a Scrum Master. So this is my conclusion for today.